Somebody to tell me the 3 different layers of the eyeball. We have on the outer is what?
Fibrous layer.
Fibrous layer, and then we go to the middle vascular layer, and then the inner neural. Okay, and so now we break each of those layers down into their respective components. So the outer fibrous is what?
Cornea and sclera.
Cornea and the sclera, and the junction between those two is
Limbus.
If you leave with only one word in your brain, I would leave with limbus. It's very important clinically. Okay, and then if we go to the vascular layer, which is the middle layer, what are the components of the vascular layer?
Iris.
Okay, so let's start and list them anterior to posterior.
Iris.
The iris would be the most anterior, and then ciliary body, and then choroid. Okay, so how many ciliary bodies are there in one eyeball? So if we're looking at this canine eyeball, how many ciliary? Where is the ciliary body? This bump right in the road, bump in the vascular road, iris, ciliary body, and choroid. Right. So how many ciliary bodies are there in an eye?
Is it one big one that goes
It's
into
one ciliary body that encircles the lens. Okay, we're just looking on the half section. There's not a bump on the bottom and a bump on the top. It's a ridge that goes all the way around the equator of the lens. Off of the ciliary body are what? What are the little fingers that project off the ciliary body? Okay, so the zonular fibers are like the Velcro strands that hold the lens into the eyeball, but what do the zonular fibers connect to? The lens, and then where do they connect to? Say again?
Ciliary body.
Okay, they connect to the ciliary body, but there are these little things that poke out of the ciliary body that are called the...
Like spaghetti thing?
Okay, their little starts with a pros, ends with a C's. Processes. Okay. So the ciliary processes are these ridges, and we'll look at that in here. These little ridges that come off. This is a ridge or a process off the ciliary body. Okay, and these fibers, if you look in here, are very fine. They're snot-like little strands that are kind of like web strands that interdigitate on the ciliary processes. So here's kind of a blown-up version of that. Here's the equator of the lens. These are zonular fibers here. There's a better diagram. We'll have to look in the eyeball.
Oh, I'm sorry, what do you mean the equator of the lens? Like the outer rim?
Yes, the equator, think of like if this were the Earth, the equator would be
Okay.
at the edge, right? Okay. So if we're talking lens terminology, we're talking, it's kind of like a football-shaped structure standing on end in the dog. It has an anterior surface, a posterior surface, there's an equator. The components of the lens, did Dr. Murphy review those? Haven't gotten there yet, okay? But you will. There's an inner nucleus and an outer cortex, kind of like a kidney. And then there is a layer of epithelial cells on the anterior surface of the lens. We'll talk more about that. So the other kind of confusing thing is that there are many zonular fibers, but collectively the whole grouping of zonular fibers is called the zonule. Okay? So how many zonules are there in an eyeball? Really one zonule, right? A zonular mechanism with a whole bunch of zonular fibers that come off of one ciliary body that encircles the lens, okay? So did he talk to you about ciliary body anatomy and the different regions of that?
I haven't gotten ciliary body yet.
Okay, so that's a little confusing, but we'll look at that. Again, if we're in the vascular layer, we have iris. The bump in the road here is the ciliary body, and then it projects posteriorly onto the choroid. This whole region right here is the ciliary body. So there's a pars plicata and a pars plana portion of the ciliary body. Just so pars means body or part, right? Plicata means plication, like if anybody sews or what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, to plicate something means to gather it all up, right? It's like a drawstring. So that's the plicated portion of the ciliary body, and then there's a plana portion of the ciliary body. What's plana mean?
Plain.
Flat, plain, boring, flat. Okay, so there's a part with little ridges and a flat part. Why is that important? This ciliary body has several functions, and you will need to know these, but the ciliary body serves as the anchoring place for the lens. It also is lined by epithelium that produces the fluid that fills the front two chambers. Okay? And those front two chambers are what? Which ones?
Anterior chamber.
And posterior chamber, in contrast to the vitreal body or vitreal cavity back here, right? So, and then the other function is that the ciliary muscle, conveniently located in the ciliary body, okay, is the muscle that, when it constricts and relaxes, does what?
Changes the shape of the lens.
Changes the lens, or changes the pupil?
Changes the lens.
Changes the lens, changes the shape of the lens, and we call that accommodation, right? So as you get older, you will love the fact that you lose your